Well, hi guys, hopefully this finds you very well. My name's Paul, this is Plan Z, and yeah, hopefully this finds you very well, and welcome to this little session where today's focus is going to be the Tonex pedal. We're going to be looking at input levels. Been asked to do a little video off the back of a video I put up yesterday to just give clarity and dial in some different types of amplifiers on the show you my approach to it and strategies surrounding input and getting the kind of tones that we want from this machine or little black box here. I'm running it with a Boss GT1000, and let's get the first thing out of the way is input. So I'm running at the moment I'm playing a Tele single coils. We're going to get the Les Paul standard out in a minute, but we're going to start out on the neck pickup, full gain pot, and in the GT1000 if I come into here we can actually get a visual on my input signal here, okay? And what you need to know is before GT1000, I've got a Gig Rig 321, which allows me to put 3 different guitars into the one input of my GT1000, or directly into here, but I'm coming into here running 4-cable method, so I can use preamp effects before the Tonex here. So it's in the send returns. And here's my level for the neck. Let's go above. Go back. Coming into the Dumble patch that I've been covering in the last few videos. Now, let's now marry up this information with what's going on here. So what I've been saying to people is my strategy after playing around, started playing around with this about 3 weeks ago, did a few videos covering that, and I've had all kinds of different settings here off the back of different information you find from places. And what I've discovered is the input trim. If you were downloading, let's say there's a guy called Jason. Jason, what's your surname? I always forget it and I want to mention it. There's a guy called Jason, really nice guy, shaved head, bit of a beard, does videos on Line 6 and Tonex and various other things, and he's been suggesting, and it got everyone's knickers in a twist, about dropping the trim level here when you use captures and when you're using capturing of your own amps. Okay, so I want to talk about the different types of things and how we can just get easy solutions for leveling this input. So here he would, and I would, if I'd taken a copy of my amp using the same software as him. Remember, Jason's someone who knows how to do this. So when you get a capture from him, the levels he's giving you are the levels that he's done. He's managed it. So if he says, look, go to this place, this is the place that's going to give you what represents his capture. And commonly, people who know how to make captures well, you'll find you'll need to be in a similar place here. But if you were using captures from lots of different people, this is so annoying it doesn't stay in the same place, from lots of different people and a combination of preamp of the models in here, I would suggest you could leave your level here at 0. Just so you know, I've got the output here at 0 dB coming into the input here, set to line level in, instrument level out to Tonex, okay? Coming out of here, leaving that at 0, because the gain on the actual amp model isn't like the gain pot on an amp. It's not a modular. This is the input gain as well. They give us 2 places to manage this. And I imagine they've done that, not really realizing, or maybe realizing that, you know, people are going to want to use different things. They're going to want to use these models and captures, let's say. So when I've got my level at 0, to hit the same place with my Dumble patch as I was when I was doing videos with my input trim at -12, but I didn't, there was something missing in the tone. Something wasn't quite right. So what I did was I leveled it to 0, and then I brought this input trim down, because I read the manual and it says this is an input trim. And I thought, you know what, all these patches are different. And with my little Dumble one here, I ended up at 35. Now when I did that, I needed to address the level here, and the level came down actually to 45. Weird, isn't it? I thought that would have gone up. But anyway, that's come down partly because I did another thing that I'm doing in all of my patches. So here, we've got a high cut, low cut EQ happening in GT1000, all right? So I'm taking away a low cut at 125 Hertz, high cut at 10K, and a couple of other frequencies along the way, 4K and 2.5K, I think. But in here, so I've got the maximum amount of volume and frequencies are volume. The more bass you put into something, the more volume you're going to have when you hit the meter at the end, yeah? So maximizing that in Tonex, what I'm doing in my patches is taking off the compressor. I'm not touching any of the noise suppression yet. And on every patch I've touched, I come to the bass, I bring it down to 90 hertz. Now you can come down to 75 hertz. Most of the patches will have this up here because they're thinking you're not going to be mastering, but I'm mastering, okay? So if you're mastering, be mindful of that. So I've got the low gain, the bass opened up, so I'm getting all the bass frequencies that the guitar will produce. The mid, I've got the Q at 70, and most of the patches have got the dropout at 750 hertz, okay? Then the highs, I've done the same thing. I've opened it up, I've taken it to the maximum, opened up to 4K, and I'm manipulating the frequencies further in here. Without having those frequencies, I'm not getting everything I need to work with in here, if that makes sense. I should point out that in here, we've got send return, 2 EQs, and at the end of the chain here, I've got a compressor on, a stereo compressor, which is allowing me to have that one off, all right? But it's very subtle, it's a mastering compressor. Funnily enough, would use the same strategy that Jason would use, and that's why, even though he doesn't do Boss GT1000 content, I follow him because he's of a similar age and generation of me, maybe a bit younger, I think. I'm 51. I think he's maybe somewhere, I don't know, maybe 30s, 40s. But he uses all the similar sort of strategies I would use, and he makes sense to me, so that's why I subscribe to his channel. Yeah, so, but anyway, not getting distracted with that. That's the strategy that I've done there. And then the other thing that will affect everything I hear, I will then put the EQ on post. That mix is obviously on 100. Then I turn my reverb on. I want to create some room, some space, and I want all of the amps to have the same. So all of my patches that I touch will have this reverb set, okay? So it's set to room. I've got the time on 0.5. The pre-delay is on 90. Just keeping things out of the way of the guitar. The color is +2, okay? That is... Let's come to the neck. We are on the neck. And I found there I'm staying within clipping. I don't know what the amp's meant to sound like. I wasn't there when they recorded it, and I don't know what levels they recorded it on, but I do know that when I get into different patches, the levels are all over the place. So mindful of what I've done there, let's go to, just to show you how things can be very different. I'm going to go up to patch 8, where I've been moving things around. There's a patch called Maz. It's really nice, clean. We'll move on to heavier amps in a bit, but I just want to show you here, once I've leveled everything here, so everything's on 50 with the gain, the bass, the presence, the depth. Here, before I make any adjustments, I'm just going to check this volume knob is on 100. Remember, this moves sometimes of its own will, and can adjust your volume. You might be turning things up here when you don't need to. So let's come into here and let's look at the gain. So here I've got the gain on 30. You see the light goes green when it's unedited. So there the gain's on 30. Let's come down here. Let's just check. Yeah, I've opened that up. That is the same. So yeah, I've been in here definitely. The level on 45. So they both come down quite considerably. And I've been leveling this, putting boosts and things in front of it, making sure I'm not clipping. Okay? Let's just go back to the input so you can keep an eye on that as I'm going through things. All right. So we've got that there. Let's now go to some patches that I haven't touched. Right, so we've got some orange amps here. What I'm not doing in these patches when I'm diving into them, what I'm looking to do is just get a starting point. I don't know what these amps are going to sound like in the room that it was captured in, all of that stuff. I just want to try and get a tone up and running, see if it's worth using, and then decide whether or not I'm going to overwrite it. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I've probably had a fiddle in here at some point, so let's just check. I've got the depth on 50. It was on 45. Let's go to 50. The presence, let's get that on 50. Let's just quickly save the unit. I'm going to go, while I'm in this alt mode, I'm just going to bring the reverb mix up to 15. That's where it's going to be set for all the patches, unless it's a little bit too strong when I put a distortion through it, in which case I'll just drop it somewhere between 15 and 10. We'll see where I get to. Let's change the mode now. Let's just quickly do a save. And I'll save after every mode because you might knock a button, and once you've started editing, this light changes and you don't know what you're editing after that point. Does that make sense if you knock a button and you don't know which one of these three you've knocked? Sorry if I'm talking too quickly. Now, what I'm going to do is just check. This level here is on 100 before I start editing. That's an output level. Here, I'm just going to go, yeah, we're 50. Oh, come back out of there. 50. Yeah, everything should be on 50. What's going on here with the gain? The gain's on 50. Let's bring this gain down to 35 now. So this is where I'm finding a place commonly with all the patches, somewhere between 35, 37, depending on the amp. I'm within clipping, okay? So now I've got the gain there, everything's on 50. I'm just going to come in, look at my model level. Actually, it doesn't feel too bad straight off the bat at 60. Give it a really hot back pickup there. And we're not clipping. Lovely. So what I'm going to do is, just as a very quick starting point, I'm going to save that patch like that. I'm going to keep it, cross-reference it, jam with it in loops. You know, you'll hear those in other sessions. Here, let's pick on another orange, just so we do the same thing. So you can understand, I've made my decisions. I'm going to go in and just level things to a point that I know's worked from experimenting with others, and just get a starting point and then work from there if I've got problems. So what we're going to do is change the mode, just check the depth, was on 50, good. Presence 50. Now if you've received an unedited unit, you won't need to do this, but I know I've had a fiddle because I've been playing around with levels. Let's change the mode. Just check. Yeah, lovely. And this is one of the problems with it not having a button that you can press and just look at the amp settings. You've actually got to adjust it to look at the, and that's such a, it's so long. It's such a non-me way of doing things. So what we're going to do here is just bring that gain down to 35 now. Come to the model level, which is at 50. I'm going to leave it at 50 for a moment. I'm going to bring it up in a sec. Before I do that, I'm just going to make sure comp is off. Won't touch the noise suppression. I'm going to leave that as is for the minute. Bring this down to 90. And you'll notice I'm going to do exactly the same things with this patch until I find a problem. If I find a problem, I'll deal with it. EQ, post. The mix will be on 100%, but let's check. Reverb on. Room 5. Just so we're in the same space as all the other amps that I'm going to be shooting out, if that makes sense. Bring that color up. Let's just do a save because there's quite a lot of changes we made there. And then we'll get this level. So let's... What I'm going to do is go down to my Dumble. Back pick up. Okay, so this guy, we didn't adjust the level yet. So let's come out to the master level, bring this up. Just going to save there as a starting point. You know what? I'm tempted to go a touch louder. Might have gone a touch too much, but we'll see how we get on. So let's move on to something different now. So we had a little look, a couple of oranges. I showed you the principle in the last video. What's this? This is lo-fi. I've been in here. Let's go somewhere I haven't been. Actually, let's look at this super reverb. Now I know the depth and everything will be on 50, okay? Where did I end up? I've got gain on 35. The level on 60. Just going to check I've done what I needed to do with the EQ. And I'll know straight away here. Yeah, let's just bring that up because at one point I did have it down. Yeah, okay, so knowing that, the reverbs will be what I've told you. So I'm just going to save it, move on to something else. Now let's see if we can't find something heavier. Let's pull out. Ooh. What we've got here, UK 800s. 5150 I showed you in a couple of videos ago, SLO. This SLO here, we're going to be covering in a couple of videos. Let's get, yeah, there's a thrashy one there, a jazzy one here. Right, so we've got three different things here. Let me just look at the gain. I've edited that one already. This one hasn't been edited yet. So let's turn this one into something. So what we're going to do is, I'm not going to touch the noise suppression for a minute. We're just going to go to the Les Paul. Okay, so just change the channel on the Gig Rig 321. I'm going to change the mode. Bring back the gain pot for a moment. Just check depth and things are at 50, 50, 50. I'm going to bring this reverb in at 15. I'm going to save the patch. What am I doing here? Now let's come into here. Let's change that mode. Let's get this gain to start with down on 35. And again, you'll notice I'm not using my ears here. I don't want to damage my ears, constantly doing things. I'm going to go in, make my decision, fiddle around with what I want to fiddle around with, come away, and then I'll do a separate session where I'll level these further. Does that make sense? Because I want to shoot out a bunch of different amps. I'm live looping and I want to use a bunch of different things for the color. Let's just check this. Yep. Now, let's get this reverbs on. Hopefully we're in. Let's go to the end color. No, so maybe not. +2. Let's get this pre-delay. Remember to get your delay out of the way. And bring this time down. Okay. So now we're set there. Let's come along here. I've obviously not that. Let's keep that on 50. So this is quite a distorted patch. Got back pickup. Put on a clean boost. Let's just come to the gain and just bring this up a touch to 37, see what happens. So I actually quite like that as is. I'm going to save that on 37, which I think 37 to 35 will be the same as bringing your input trim down. I'm just going to turn that down for a moment. Is going to be the same as bringing your input trim down to -12, I believe. But if you do me a favor, and if you're downloading patches, I don't even have a computer, so I won't be doing that just yet. But if you're downloading other people's patches, let me know. take Jason's patch, for example. Be interesting to know. I haven't seen him do this experiment yet, or maybe he has and I haven't seen the video yet. By the way, Jason, I understand. Let's go to a quiet patch for a moment. I understand your spine is out at the moment. I struggle with a deteriorating spine injury. It's just been getting worse the last few years. It's non-stop. Some of the symptoms you're getting, I get as well. So I just want to kind of shout out to you, big love to you. You're a really nice man. As I say, I follow you, yeah, empathy out to you. I know what you're going through. It's not easy at the moment. Hopefully you recover soon. Okay, so let's get back into here. Now I've done that, let's bring this gain down. Actually, before I do that, we've got gain there. Let's put this on 50. Let's come up on a back pickup. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, going to be quite a noisy patch to work in until I've done the noise suppression, but we're going to come straight in. The comp will be off because it's a high gain patch. We're going to go 90. I won't talk through it, I'll just go through it. You can see what's going on. Now here, they've done the cut there. I'm going to check that in a minute. They might have done that for a reason of the capture. So I'm going to leave the mid cut where it is, but I'm going to extend the highs to 4K, same as the other one. Okay, let's bring this gain down. Might even start at 37. Let's leave that where that is for the moment. Just going to save it. Now before I do anything, I'm going to check I haven't moved that knob. This is a level, so that's on 10. Let's just check these are all on 50. It obviously wasn't because the light stayed yellow. 50. 50. Just gonna save ourselves. Now I'm using a Les Paul 50 standard, so the pickups won't be their paths. Let's go back into here. Pull that pickup back a touch. Put a clean boost on. Yeah, noisy but good. I'll need to look at the noise suppression. Just going to save that. Let's come away from here. Oh. I've probably been in there. This is one of the original Dumbles. 30, UK key, SLO. This hasn't been touched, I don't think. Let's have a look. Where's the gain? Now, I've actually got a bank of SLOs that we're going to be dialing in. Oh, I have been in here then. Okay, so I've already started to level this one. Let's bring this up to 70 to start with. I'm going to come along. Open this up to 90. Okay, let's open it. And in the room, just moving it between 35 and 37 there made a slight difference. I prefer it. What I'm going to do is come away from here and go to another patch where I've got a tube screamer. Okay, so that's my starting point. I'm probably going to want to work with that, play around with the cue. I wish I could remember the patch we were in a minute ago. The thrashy one, wasn't it? Oh, let's go back up because that cue. Let's look at this. Now, in all the other patches, remember, I've got the cue here for the mids on 750. But we're going to move it 398. Yeah, plenty of meat. Let's go. Save that. Okay, so I'm going to end that session there. Hopefully, it's giving you a feel for what's going on. And I covered in the last couple of videos what I'll do when I, took the 5150 and took the one patch that they gave us, but made 3 slightly different versions of it. And I'm going to dial those in a bit further. But yeah, I'll try to remember to link that video below. Hopefully you found that useful. If any questions come from that, let me know. If I can answer that in the comments, I will. And if it needs a video, I'll give you a video. I'll catch you later. Bye.